What is up, everyone? It's Dan here, back with another episode of Guitar Talk. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, roll that intro. What is up, everyone? So today we are looking at the brand new plugin from ML SoundLab. It's been a while since I've done one of these. This is the Pink Sabbath plugin. So I've got my PRS Custom 22 with bare knuckles. It's a 2006 model. Reason I'm going for this is because I like the sound. It's very versatile and it's got chord splits that work really well. That is going into a Focusrite interface, which is going into my MacBook running Studio One. So if we jump into the screen now, you can see here I've got a track all ready to go. You don't have to use Studio One or Logic or anything like that. You can do this with a standalone app, but I prefer doing it this way just because it's easier for when I'm recording a video to show you guys. So if we go into my ML SoundLab folder, we can see Pink Sabbath. If we drag and drop it there and arm the track, we should get sound ready to go. If it's not immediately obvious what this is doing, it's a plugin which essentially brings back some of the classic 1970s amps that aren't plexis, Marshall plexis. So you can see here we've got a Laney style amp famously used by Tony Iommi, hence the Sabbath name. And if I click in this window here, you can see we get a Hiwatt amp which is used by David Gilmour with Pink Floyd, hence the Pink Sabbath. So hopefully that clears up where the name comes from, what you're getting with this plugin. Now, going through what we've got in the plugin, as I normally like to do with this, you can see we can resize the plugin down here. We've got all the controls you would normally find on this amp, including also an input and an output just for setting levels. So we've got gain, bass, middle, treble, presence. Now, I have been known in the past to describe Laney amps as, let me put it this way, if you were walking in a desert for 3 days with no water and you found a packet of digestive biscuits, plain, and started eating them, that to me sums up what I think old Laney amps sound like. They are very dry, quite unforgiving. I love digestive biscuits, by the way, but just a very, very dry, fuzzy, unforgiving amp. That to me nails the tone straight away, which, as you can probably tell, I'm not a massive fan of the Laney tone by itself, but when you put it in a mix, there's something magical about it and it just kind of works. Now, having a look through, obviously, as I say, we've got our gain, bass, middle, treble, presence. If we head over to presets, you can see we've got some presets which are included with each amp model. They change as you go through. They are pretty well named that you kind of know what sound you're going to get. So for example, we go to Suspicionoid, then obviously that's going to sound a bit like Paranoid. It sounds pretty much like you would expect. So very useful just to get some iconic sounds at just a touch of a button, if that's what you're getting this plugin for. Very, very useful. And then if we go down to the bottom, we've got a tuner. Pretty much does what you would expect. Pedal board, we've got different pedals here, so you can add effects in front in the effects loop. These are all where they should be. Even the amp doesn't have an effects loop in real life. It's emulated here to sound like it's in the effects loop. So if you turn the delay on, it's going to sound like it's in an effects loop. So that is very useful. We've got the cab section, which you've got 2 cabs included and several microphones that you can select. So you can select different types of microphones, move them in and out, and the sound will change depending on where you move the mic. Again, very, very easy to use. MIDI, if MIDI is your thing, you can plug a MIDI pedal into this and you can trigger different features of the plugin using a MIDI foot switch. So if you want to use this live, then you can use it live. Or if you want to set your DAW, if you want to set Studio One to trigger MIDI commands as a track's playing, you can do that as well. So very useful. That is a little bit beyond me, so I'm not going to demo how that works, but very, very useful. License Manager is just where you activate the software. So if we go back to the amp and head over to something like Pink Jumped, Comfortably Numb. A very, very nice, pleasing tone. I don't know how to play Comfortably Numb, so I'm not going to play it to see if it sounds accurate, but judging by how good the Sabbath presets sound, I'm going to assume that if you play Comfortably Numb with this, it's going to sound great. Now, again, if we head over to another amp and have a look at Who Needs a Plexi? So we can see here just everything turned up to 10. That to me is just a classic 70s tone, which I guess nails what this plugin is setting out to do. Very, very dynamic feeling. Now, I have been in a situation where I was lucky enough and unfortunate enough at the same time to be in a room with a Hiwatt turned up to 10, 100 watt head, plugged into a 4x12 cab. It was an old 70s model, and I'm sure from a distance it probably sounded fantastic. It probably sounded a bit like this. When you're standing next to it, it is not a pleasant experience. It is deafeningly loud. And this brings me on to the point that I love these kind of plugins because whether people want to admit it or not, most people can't tell when you use something like this to record if you've used a plugin or if you've mic'd up the real amp. And to use the real amp, first of all, you've got to find an old 100 watt Hiwatt. You've got to find the same kind of cab if you want this kind of tone. And you've got to find a place that's suitable to crank up an old 70s tube head and not annoy people, or where you can actually do it in an environment where you can hear what you're playing along to. So a plugin like this that allows you to convincingly do that, to me, is just amazing. I love the modern era of amp modeling that we're in. The other point is, obviously, if you do record and you were to record with one of these in an actual Hiwatt head, and afterwards you went, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have turned everything up to 10 when I recorded that. With the plugin, you can obviously just go back and change the settings, and it affects your dry track that you've recorded. If you wanted to redo it with a real head, you'd have to go book a studio out again and re-record, which is a pain. So this is a massive benefit. And then just going through some other tones that are in here, let's have a look. That classic sound. Very cool sound. I don't know if you guys can tell when I'm playing, but I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is a very, very dynamic playing. It's very touch sensitive. You play hard, it drives more. You play soft, it cleans up. Very, very useful. Now, if we go over to the Sabbath channel again, we can see we've got as clean as it gets. It cleans up all right. Let's have a look at Sabbath clipped again, and Ron Man. We know what that is. Sounds quite convincing to me. Sabbath, Gory Sabbath. Now, if we go to the normal channel, I'm sure it's all Battle Hogs. So that's going to be War Pigs. Now, I don't know if it kind of comes across what I said earlier about the old 70s Laney sound just being very dry and unforgiving, that where it just works in a mix. I'm going to do something and I will cut forward to it. So I've taken the liberty of just putting a few little riffs together. I have used Easy Drummer 3, which handily had a War Pig style groove section, so I've dropped those in. Bass, I've just used a Warwick Corvette, and to keep it on brand, I've got the ML Sound Lab amped bass plugin, which is just running the Ampeg style section. And then I've just used my PRS to record these tracks left and right. Let's take a listen to how those tracks sound. So this is lovely, expensive PRS with bare knuckles. Let's listen to that glorious tone. So that is what spending a lot of money on your guitar will get you. And then if we plug this in and select, it's on that one, wasn't it? Battle Hogs. And let's copy that over. And see how that sounds now. It's that big, dry, laney sound that I mentioned, which, as I also said, when you put it into a mix, just kind of works. Very, very cool. Now, I've not listened to War Pigs for a while, so I've not compared the tones, but in my head, that just sounds right. It sounds like the War Pigs tone. So well done to ML Sound Lab for not only nailing, in my opinion, the actual feel and sound of the model, but putting these presets together and getting an authentic style tone out of them as well. Very, very cool. So if you are like me, where you grew up on like Black Sabbath riffs and that kind of stuff, and you want that tone, this plugin is very, very useful. And then obviously you don't have to stick with that tone. I guess it's useful for something like War Pigs, but you can just change it on the fly. So there we go, very, very easy to use. To me, it's just like using the real thing. You just set the knobs where you want them, you play, off you go. And if you want simple plug and play sounds, there's loads of presets that you can pick from very, very easily. It's great to see classic 70s amps like these that have been modeled and modeled so well. So well done to ML Sound Lab for that, because most companies, and you can see here I've got highlighted the ML Plexi, most companies just go straight for the Plexi because that is the big classic quintessential 70s amp sound. But these are classics as well, so well done to ML Sound Lab for modeling these. Full disclosure as well, these are my own opinions. Yes, ML Sound Lab did let me have this to review. They know I am very, very honest with my reviews. They don't tell me what to say. I'm not being paid by them or anything like that. These are my own opinions, and I think this is a fantastic plugin. It is well worth checking out, and you can download it for free from their website as well to have a little demo of, and I recommend doing it. What have you got to lose? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. When I do these little reviews of these plugins, these kind of software style reviews as well, what do you want to see from me? What do you want to see me do? Because I'd love to do more of these, and I want to make sure I'm covering what you guys want to see. Other than that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all those YouTubey things. It does really help, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.